Hello, race fans and hot rodders. This is Jim McHugh again on the Big Comedy Podcast, and I have one of my favorite people in the whole world, Miss Karith Foster. She's formerly just a comedian, but she's expanded to be so much more now. She's a humorist. She is a public speaker and an author, and I think I probably forgot a couple of things.
You know, Renaissance woman. Just say Renaissance woman.
Okay.
Right?
You paint,
maker of crayons. That's an inside joke. When he called earlier, we were trying to melt crayons together in the oven. So.
Well, I thought that was perfect. And by the way, they're like mini Kariths, by the way. They're very cute.
I do. I have mini me's.
Yeah, we were supposed to do the podcast, and you kind of turn the camera. Can you call me back? I have to do this. And I see these two really cute little girls looking into an oven, staring at it like it was the most important thing in the world, which of course it is. And you rightly prioritize the melting of crayons.
Thank you. I try. My mother is now trying to call me. She calls it the most inopportune times.
Okay.
And I'm just going to text her. On an interview, Mom. Anyway, so thank you for having me back. This is fun. We haven't. Well, God, I mean, how much has changed in the world since we talked last time? Last time I was in Denver. We were just kind of chatting about the documentary I was in, No Safe Spaces.
Right.
Free speech and, the status of free speech and comedy and on college campuses. Which, by the way, did you know that movie has been banned from Walmart?
Have you seen who goes into Walmart? How did you get banned from Walmart?
I'm not going there.
In Walmart.
But what I am going to say is
shoes. What they define as shoes.
You sell guns.
You can go there in a shower curtain in Walmart. Banned. How was that possible?
But you can't talk about free speech.
No.
Not in Walmart. No. That's a no-no.
Wow, that is impressive.
Isn't that crazy? I mean, truly, has the world just completely gone mad?
I guess all corporations are just so afraid of this social media beast and trolls, and they don't know how to handle it, so that they're in constant retreat. Right?
What I don't understand is why anybody's afraid of free speech. How did it get to just be a white guy conservative issue? This should be an everybody issue, and that's why I'm very proud to be a face of it, because if anybody needs their voice heard, it's people who are in marginalized groups. Right. So let's claim that. Let's own that. Let's understand that if we stop talking, if we are censored, if we're not allowed to say what we need to say, our freedoms are gone. I mean, and we're starting to kind of see that happen right before our eyes right now.
Well, yeah. Also, when trying to solve a problem, you get a bunch of people around a table, and then only the smallest percentage of people are allowed to voice their opinions how to solve that problem. Isn't that how do you solve the problem?
It doesn't get solved, and that's exactly. I am in the middle of. Not in the middle. It's been my passion and my purpose to revamp how we have this diversity and inclusion conversation, because for so long, and I in my heart, I want to believe it's been well intentioned. It's just been done so poorly, right? To the point where if you're not a quote unquote diverse person, which what the hell does that mean? Then you don't have it. You can't be part of the conversation. Well, then if you're not part of the conversation, how are you at all invested in making things better or change? I'm so tired of this, well, you're Black, you're a woman, you're part of the LGBTQIA community, you practice a different religion, you're diverse, and you're a victim, right? Oh, you're a straight, cis, white guy. Well, then you're just evil on face value, and, you have nothing to add to this. Well, who wants to be put Right? Who wants to be put in either of those categories? Seriously. I mean, who wants to be a victim? Who wants to be a villain? That's stupid. And it's not working. And look at where we are right now.
Yeah, it's crazy. You know, it's like for me, it's like once in a while I'll travel on Southwest Airlines, and they'll say we're going to seat the uh, parents with kids, the veterans, the elderly, anyone with a physical problem, and then anyone under 6'6", nobody pale, nobody over 40. Okay, everybody but Jim McHugh.
Awesome.
Yeah, I'll be getting on last again. I get
Oh
it.
yeah, fine. All right. Your last name might as well start with a Z, right? Class. Oh my God. Like, see, I'm so glad we can laugh about this because, God, we need to laugh about this. And that's why, honest to goodness, I
Well,
incorporate humor. I mean, my years of
yeah.
comedy have served me well. And
Mhm.
I use humor to talk about this stuff
Right.
because, I mean, the whole point of comedy is to point out the absurdity of
Well,
things.
I swear, they people are threatened by comedy because they that's a big. Well, as you know, you did that movie. It was called "Can We Take a Joke?"
Can
Which
I take a
and
joke?
we
Right?
talked about
Right.
that years ago, but it's still out there. Like they silencing comedians, like and shaming them and taking jokes from 10 years ago and then
Oh,
reading them like a court
right, right, right,
stenographer,
right.
completely with no irony or context, and then trying people, in their absence
Pretty
with a
much.
mob.
Right,
These aren't
right.
good American principles. Like
I mean, listen, I'm not gonna get all conspiracy theory on you
right,
right now because I don't think it is, but I think there is clearly an intention
right,
to divide us in any way possible, and I don't know why that is. I don't fully that I don't understand, but I just know it's like it's the saying, divide and conquer. And I don't know if it's because there's some nefarious things going on in the world that we aren't supposed to be paying attention to, but the fact that we are being baited to fight each other because you vote a different way, or now be back to like different skin color, like if
don't you always
it's
wonder when
such
big
absurdity.
horrible things are happening, like what's happening? That's when they slide stuff through. Like
Oh
we're
yeah,
we're watching the shed burn, and they're you know cleaning out the girl, whatever. There's something else is happening that
exactly. It's the, hey, look over
page
there. Well, this is
59
happening
of
over
a
here.
document that they're all signing off on. We're losing our freedom somehow.
Yeah,
All of
yeah.
us. I mean, not
So
just
everybody, no, agreed. And everybody's like, it's like, and I'm not saying it's little, like racism and what has been happening in the country. It's not little. It's absolutely significant. But the way that it's being approached, not in a let's solve the problem, but let's throw more fuel on the fire. That's what has me concerned. And I'm very much afraid that, yes, these are conversations we need to have. They're long overdue, right? But if you do it in a way that pits people against one another, like what I see happening, it's going to make it worse. I mean, we're I don't want to say headed toward a civil war, like God forbid, like that actually really happens. But there's talks of that. I mean, there's talks of revolutions, and what's really sad is there are good, well-meaning, well-purposed peoples who are exercising their First Amendment rights, peacefully protesting,
yes,
having their say, and then there are people who are coming in and taking full advantage and giving other people a bad name, doing violent, horrible, awful things, and so many people now, they don't even know what to believe anymore when they turn on the news.
that's right.
They don't know what's true, what's false. Like, and yes, you have to be a critical thinker, right? You have to not just watch one news source. You
Right,
have to read. You have to investigate. You have to pay attention.
right.
And hopefully this is a wake up call for that. Um,
That's the other side of the coin, I think, because part of it is you're kind of intimidated out of speaking, and then
yeah,
you're buried under the weight of this. You just want to turn to Netflix and watch movies
right.
because you can't. You feel helpless.
That is, I said that was like the buzzword of 2020. Initially, after COVID-19 and everything hit, it was pivot, right?
Yep.
Unprecedented. Those were the buzzwords. Now it's helpless. Everybody feels helpless. Black people feel helpless because for so many we've been like, we've been saying this is a problem. This is an issue. It's yes, there's violence in our communities, and yes, we have a problem with it. But this is violence that goes unchecked because of who is actually in power right now. And white people who have good hearts and their heads are in the right places are like, well, what can I do? What do I say? How do I make a difference? And people just feel helpless, and it's sad and it's scary, but I am an eternal optimist. I think that this is the first step, just having these conversations, just reaching out to people and saying, hey, what are you thinking about this? What's going on? Is there anything I can do for you? A lot of people want to be heard, and after being heard, then you can have the real conversation, this exchange of ideas, and through that conversation comes ideas and actions and ways to, like, okay, so we've been doing this before, not working. Let's try it this way. I think disbanding police departments is completely absurd.
Yeah.
Like, I don't even understand how that is a logical way to handle it.
Guess who can afford to have security when the police are gone?
Yeah.
It's not going to be the working class down to poor. They can't afford security. It's going to be wealthy people. The celebrities are going to have their security.
Oh, they'll be fine.
All the all the top government people, they're going to have security. It's
it's becoming Lord of the Flies, like,
yeah, right, and then you feel like you don't want to be. It takes courage, I think, to stand up and say anything.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I you probably noticed I've been on
I
Fox
admire
News.
you a little bit because you're kind of like sticking your neck out quite a bit here, because people expect me to be horrified by this because everything's my fault, right? But when you stand up and say, "Hey, something's wrong," you're special in a way that's not, you know what I'm saying?
Right. Now I hear you. And well, here's the good news. The good news is more and more people feel this way and are seeing this for what it is,
Right.
and are starting to say something because they're like, wait a second, this isn't okay. Like, when you put the two and two together and it's not four, it's five. You're like, what's going on? And it's hard to wake up. I mean, there is a reason the expression ignorance is bliss
Right.
rings so true,
Right.
because the less you know, the less you're like, oh, that's somebody else's issue, that's a problem over there, that's not me, that's not my life. The happier you can be because you don't have to deal with it. But listen, this is not the time to go into your shell. This is not the time to glaze over. This is not the time to Netflix and chill.
Right.
This is the time to be like, okay, what's going on? Let me pay attention to this. Let me talk to this person. Let me reach out to this family member. Who are we voting for? Who are we putting into office? I'm not even talking presidential level. I'm talking like judges, sheriffs, local politicians,
right.
The people who we do have a say in who they are.
Right. Well, you talk about the police issue. The mayor said he wasn't for abolishing the police, and they booed him. I watched him walk that crowd. I thought he's in danger. I mean, he's walking
You made me
along,
think of
along
Ghost. You're in danger, girl. Molly,
yeah,
girl, you're in danger.
like. Well, as a comedian, you always kind of have your radar up for like how crazy is somebody who's yelling out.
Right.
And
Who
sometimes
are the
I think
hecklers?
these guys, like, first of all, have a better exit strategy than walking the long way into the audience. I don't know who planned that out. Have a back door, back up. Hello.
Have you ever been
Like struggles happen in Minneapolis lately. Why not have him walk through a? He thought he was going to be Mr. Popularity. That's the problem, right?
I'm surprised they didn't have him do the famous Beatles walk across the Black Lives Matter highway.
Yeah.
Wearing just like a sock on his on his junk. Oh my god! This was totally diverting from that, but because I've known you for so many years, and
Right.
you've always just been so funny and so talented. Have you ever been like heckled, like booed, heckled?
Oh yeah, yes.
Really?
Oh yeah, I get I do so much crowd work that it's usually not a problem,
Right.
but and the thing about me is that it's the trick is I love the people. So
Right.
when I'm saying something to them, they know I'm not Don Rickles. I like them. I'm teasing them.
Right. 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 Right.
But I had a when I was working at Dangerfields years ago, I had a you've worked Dangerfields.
I have. Yeah.
There's a dressing room downstairs that is
Did you know
literally the whole
Trio
club
died?
is like from the 1960s.
Right.
What did you say?
I said, did you know Churio
I
died?
did. Well, this is a Chario story. I like this.
Okay.
So I always got along great with Chario. He was a great guy. So he knew kind of my talent, my tool belt. So I was down there talking to somebody else down in the green room. This is years ago, and he says, "You got to come up here, Jim. That accent. You got to come up now." So I go up there now, and there's a comedian being chased off the stage, by somebody who was heckling him. So it was a guitar act, and I was like, "What am I gonna do?" Like a guitar act trumps everything. They just play a song.
Right. Right.
So I go up there and I start messing around with this guy, and with me, I try to keep him alive. If you got to do 20 minutes, if you cut right to them, then it's just
Right.
like playing ping pong for 20 minutes.
Right. Right.
So you want to establish to the audience, let that guy irritate everyone around him. So
There
that
you
they
go.
go into
Dig its own hole.
no one's
Right.
merciful. They know
Yeah.
yeah. So he goes back and forth with me, and he says, what did he say to me? He says, "How'd you like to?" Oh, the crescendo was I was pounding him, and I'm getting big laughs, bigger and bigger laughs. And he says, "How'd you like if I come up on that stage and give you a slap?" I go, "Why don't you come up here?" I go, "I'm going to kick your ass and get laughs while I do it." And the guy, to his credit, he yells out, "Oh yeah, I effed your mother." And I said, "Oh yeah, my mother loves guys with small dicks."
Awesome.
And the guy gets up and walks out. It was like, I got that's one of my few standing ovations. People were like, "That just happened?"
That's awesome.
Yeah, yeah. I've had a lot of
Oh my god.
a lot of weirdness,
That's great.
but mostly it's great. Mostly it's great.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is. Honestly, in that like 20 some now sound crazy. Started when I was 5, okay.
Right.
Years I've been doing stand up. I think I've been like heckled like 5 times. I swear to God. 5 times where people actually like talked back to me and were like mean and rude. Now, I've had dozens upon dozens of times where the audience just sat there like this.
Yeah, that's worse.
It's worse.
It's worse because there's nothing you can do with that. Like
you can't do shit with that. You're just like, do I slip my wrist while I'm on stage so they feel like they've gotten to me, or just go home and cry?
Well, what they say, what they say about relationships, like love and hate, you can kind of they're close relatives, but
exactly.
someone who's like completely disinterested.
Oh, indifference. Indifference.
Indifference
Exactly.
is the worst.
Hate is not the opposite of love. Indifference is.
Right.
Absolutely. Oh
you
my
can't
god.
fix that.
No, you cannot fix that. You can't fix stupid. You can't fix indifference.
No.
Oh my gosh.
I can't imagine people. You're very likable. I'm sure that.
I am. I mean,
Yeah.
truly, and not just, yeah, I am likable, aren't I? No.
Yes, you are. Yeah.
I
Or
am,
like if
I
I'm talking to somebody, sometimes a lot of times people heckle me because they panic.
Right.
Like, so I just say, "Hey, what's your name?" And they go, "Bah, bah, 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 bah," and I'm like, whoa, I just asked you your name,
Right.
I'm not
right.
falling for that. Oh, okay, all right.
Once people realize that I'm really who I am on stage,
Mhm.
because I'm not a character. I'm not like this loud. I don't go into the stereotype of the loud, brash black woman,
Mhm.
which I think people expect when
Right.
they see me,
Right.
because of what we've seen so far in movies and
Yep.
TV and all that nonsense. And so a lot of them will just stare at me like waiting for me to break, like, oh, that can't really be her voice. She can't really have that southern sweet like accent. And then so that's where a lot of the silence is sometimes. And so I'm starting to address it just head on, because people were like, "What do we make of her? What do like who?" It was kind of like a mind bender for them,
Yeah, yeah,
which is kind of like an ace in my pocket
yeah.
some
It
ways.
is. I was just somebody had me on some kind of internet. They were teaching comedy, and I got roped into doing part of it. But I was like, they're asking me how do you submit for. I go, the thing is, like they had a year where the crocodile hunter got killed,
Yeah, yeah.
and out of 300 submissions, we got 150 with closed with crocodile hunter bits. So in that market, you want to stand out.
Right,
You don't want,
right.
even if you have the most wonderful, and I'm sure people do and did, and you're also you're very unique. You're not,
Which was, it's a blessing and a curse.
Yep,
It cost me a lot of work because people didn't know what to do with
yep,
me. And let's face it, Hollywood agents, they like the cookie cutter. They
right.
want the
Well, how to
the
sell?
next Amy
They know,
Schumer,
they
the
know how to
next Chris
sell
Rock. Huh?
They know how to sell cookies.
They know how to sell
If you're a
cookies.
certain kind of cookie, they sell you here. If you're this kind of cookie, they sell you here. So
Exactly.
literally, people go in and they say, "Well, what do you want to do?" They want you to tell them, "How can I sell you? I want to be a
Yeah.
writer. I want to be a
Right, right,
TV
right,
warm up guy. I want to be on a sitcom if that even exists."
right.
So yeah,
Yeah, I was really a challenge for people. They didn't know what to do with me, and I was kind of so young when I started in it. Like, I didn't even know what I wanted to do with myself. I mean, in my head, I saw like a sitcom. Like, I saw myself on the next Cosby Show.
yeah.
Um, and
So
and
you're the best manager in the history of comedy, Marty Fisher.
oh God, love
Jim,
him.
Jim, I know you got Karith on the women's show, and I know you got her on the Best of the Boston Comedy Festival show. But could you use her on the All Men Who Aren't Karith Fisher show? Think about it. He's perfect for that show.
Oh my God, you know what? He was such a bulldog, sweet
He
little
was
Marty.
relentless.
He was. And you know what? I loved him for it. Do you know? So I did Showtime at the Apollo, the TV show
Right.
on NBC, like where you rub the little, like, stump of wood and the Sandman, can come out with a hook and get you. And I mean, the roughest crowd in the world,
Right.
right? The
Right.
Apollo.
Right.
And I thought I was just going for an audition because that's what he told me.
Oh, that's hilarious.
And there's all these people there, all these and it's a teeny tiny theater, the Apollo Theater. It looks huge on TV because it's just like this wall that just like goes up of people. The stage is not very big. I mean, it's maybe twice the size of Dangerfield's. It's not big, and you're like right there, like on the people, and so like literally 2 hours before I'm supposed to go on, he's like, "Oh, honey, just so you know, this is actually the TV show." I go, "I'm sorry, the what?" I go, I didn't hear you. What? This
You know
is
what's funny?
because
Knowing
no.
you and what you would put into getting ready for a TV show,
Oh,
to
oh
like
yeah,
you're going out, is him just like pushing you.
yeah.
Whatever
Well,
you showed, if you showed up in hair curlers, he would have just put you out there. How
no
did he
lie,
know what
Tim.
you were coming there with? You know what I'm saying? Like, how did
I
he
had
know?
no. If I had no, well, but see, that's the thing. He knew because so here's the backstory. There had been two other women who were scheduled to do it,
Right.
and they chickened out because I
Okay.
mean the
It's very
Showtime at the Apollo, for people who don't know, like, they boo children.
right.
Okay, like, this audience is relentless.
Yeah.
If they don't like you, you know it, and you know it instantly, and there's no redemption. There's no nothing. You get your ass booed and you get your ass taken off the stage.
The Sandman comes out.
The Sandman comes out with literally like a
I know.
hook, like old time vaudeville.
Right.
So I'm like, it's fight or flight,
Right.
right? I got 2 hours. I've been sitting there for almost 3. I'm like, I
Madness.
can't leave. I can't leave. Like, I got to do this. And of course, I'm scared to death. I rub the little thing, and I go out there, and I'm very grateful. That's the only time in my life I'm glad someone lied to me.
Okay.
And I did it, and I did well, and I got like 2 applause
Of
breaks.
course you
I
did.
still didn't win because I was out ghettoed.
But you survived.
I survived
You
it.
did
And
well.
I thought, and it gave me this confidence like, if I can do Showtime at the Apollo, I
Right.
can do anything,
Right.
which was an unfortunate air of confidence because when I did Jamie Foxx's Laugh-A-Palooza and died 1,000 deaths on stage in front of Comedy Central, another camera crew, and I really did contemplate like just like if I could have blown up like combusted on stage, they wouldn't have been happier. This was a crowd of thousands of people at the American Airlines Center just staring at me, just waiting for me to self combust. Like it was horrible. I get off the stage, I'm mortified, right? Because I'm thinking I did Showtime at the Apollo. This is Atlanta. These are Black people who should love me. This is thinking Atlanta's like the bougie, like where my
Yeah.
family is from. Atlanta, that Spelman. No, this was Pootie Tang, Atlanta.
Hmm.
And they did not like what I had to serve. You know who was on the show? Lunell was on that show. She killed it. Joe Coy
Oh, I know
was
a
on
little
that
bit. Yeah.
show.
Yeah.
You know, and so I get off stage, truly contemplating if I'm going to continue living, and I'm sobbing, like makeup's rolling down my face, like that 4-year-old cry, like you can't even catch your breath because I
Yeah.
just felt so betrayed. It was like I was Jesus and the Black people were Judas there. Like, how could you
Well, yeah,
not love
but
me?
when you have that's the thing about comedy is like when you really get your hopes up, and that's the one that kills you. Your family shows up, someone has a camera and they're filming you. That's when it goes sideways,
Oh,
and
oh,
the recovery. It's like you're like a wounded animal, like
I
they've
was.
taken your soul and
They
they've
took my
rejected
soul
it.
that night. They did. And
Yeah.
the only thing I swear to God that kept me from like ending it was this girl who kind of befriended me was like, "Hey, honey, there's some people at the door who want to see you." I'm like, "No, I can't see anybody." I'm thinking, well, maybe it's my family. No, my family fucking left. They're like, "We can't even deal with you right now."
Yeah. Right.
And she opens the door, and it's these 4 guys, 2 white guys and 2 black guys, all of them gay as the day is long. And I'm like, hi. And they're like, you were fabulous. Like giving me hugs. They thought I was hysterical. I'm like,
Oh, good.
these are my people. The gays. They're my people.
I got to tell you a Marty Fisher story. I know we're
Please.
doing a podcast, but I know you get. I think I may have told you this before. He called me years ago, and he's hounding me. I've got this big industry audition. I think it's New York Comedy Club. It's at New York Comedy Club. You got to come. Here's the date. I don't know. I drive all the way to New York from Boston. It's a long drive, and
Right.
I'm telling you, it's big people. It's big people, and they're gonna like you. You should come to my audition. I've lined up a whole bunch of people, and I've saved a really good spot on the show for you. Okay, Marty. Okay. So I drive all the way down there. It's like 4.5 hours, Find parking, the whole thing, walk in there, and it's close to when they're going to start. And there's like comedians in the hallway, and they're talking. They go, hey, are you on the Boston Comedy Festival audition? I said, what? The guy from the Boston Comedy Festival is coming tonight. I was the industry that I drove for.
Oh, no.
And he gave me this, the Marty Shrug.
That man. That man. That man.
Brutal.
He really, you know what? I will say this about him. A lot of people are like, he's kind of shystery. He was this short little Jewish guy with dandruff, and but he is this pot belly. But he loved me like a daughter.
I know.
Did, and he did his best for me. And the only time I was disappointed was, and I actually talk about this in my book. Which, by the way, can I plug my book?
Yes.
So can you see?
Let's talk about your book. Enough about.
Okay.
Let's tell me.
So you can be perfect or you can be happy is the name of the book, right? And
first, I have a question.
Yes.
What if you're already perfect? I'm just asking for a friend.
If you're not Jim McHugh, then this book is for you.
Okay.
Everybody else but Jim McHugh.
Okay.
Now, I mean, the idea is like, so many of us strive so hard to be perfect, right? To be, the perfect significant other, to be the perfect kid, to be the perfect parent, the perfect boss, the perfect employee. There's no such thing as perfect.
Right.
We know that on a surface level,
Right.
but we still let the idea of perfection invade our everyday lives and actions. And it's costing us. And it's costing us our peace, our sanity, and our happiness. And so that's why the title is You Can Be Perfect or You Can Be Happy. Almost like it's a choice, but there really isn't, since there's no such thing as perfect. And the sooner we understand that, the sooner we can get to happy. And what is happiness? Well, it's as individual as we are, right? And it's also, the caveat I really need to say is it's not a constant. Life is full of ups and downs. I mean, and God knows we are being hit with those now more than ever. I think I saw on the news the other day that there's a shortage. It's not funny, but there's a shortage of Zoloft now in America, the antidepressant drug. They're running the fuck out.
In the age of murder hornets.
In the age of murder hornets,
Or
coronavirus,
Zoloft.
race wars. There's no Zoloft.
I'm getting my news out of the back of the Bible. Where what's coming? It's coming.
Oh shit! They already had locusts in Africa.
They've had locusts in Africa. That's right. I saw that, and it's like I don't know if it's gonna rain toads or festering boils.
I'll send it to you. There's this really funny meme about like the calendar of like shit that's going on, and I think like next fall again it's coronavirus for 2 months, then it's an alien invasion, then it's a volcano eruption, and it's like Armageddon. Like it's just like in December is Armageddon. Fully. Oh my god, we have to laugh. We have to laugh at this because it's just so. And that's the thing. I do use a lot of humor in the book because I'm a comic, and I think we gotta still have our senses of humor about us. Like if you can't laugh at yourself and at your circumstances, like you're doomed.
Right.
You're doomed. You cannot succumb to the awfulness and the reality and the stress because it will take you.
And under. I think you're training, like we were just talking about. We both had horrible experiences doing comedy, and wonderful, many more wonderful than horrible.
Oh yeah,
some horrible. And and usually you get hurt the most when you're striving for that perfect moment.
Yeah.
And your expectation is this is going to be perfect, and you can vision exact. That's like probably how I always picture like the most scary person at every wedding is the bride and her mother, because they want perfection, right? And
on that special day,
it's not happening. Something. You can't have that many moving parts on the perfect.
You can't. That's why I was so not a bride. See, I'm way better on vacation. Like travel Karith is way better than normal Karith. Like because I know in my mind that when I'm on holiday, like especially when I was a kid, I was traveling around Europe. Like I just had to go with the flow, because if I had expectations and they were dashed, I'd be devastated. So I just had this attitude that I've tried and I'm a recovering perfectionist, right, to adapt into everyday life. Like, hey, listen, there's going to be hiccups. There's going to be, things that don't go exactly the way I want. And for my wedding, I didn't get married in America. I got married in Nicaragua. And it actually was a perfect day. Like, my husband was barefoot because he had ruined his sandals the night before on a drunken booze cruise with a Canadian and an Irishman. It was like a joke. An Australian, a Canadian, and Irishman go on an all-you-can-drink booze cruise.
Yeah, we knew there'd be all involved. That's
right. But it was beautiful. It was on the beach at sunset. When the sun went down, we had fireworks. I mean, it was phenomenal. I wasn't a bridezilla about anything. Like, it was so chill. This is the best part, though. The next day, or maybe it was because it was the Saturday. So on Monday, my brother, who officiated the ceremony, we're like, "Hey, so aren't we supposed to like sign papers or something?" He goes, "Oh yeah, where are they?" I go, what do you mean, where are they? He goes, "You didn't bring them?" I go, "You didn't tell us to bring them." He goes, Oh, well, you can go to Managua. We're in San Juan del Sur. It was a 2 hour chicken bus ride to the city, $500
Oh
to
my
get.
God.
So I'm like, you know what? Screw this. So we came back to the States and got married 3 weeks later.
Okay.
So it technically wasn't perfect. We didn't know
Right,
at
right,
the
right.
time, but
Yeah,
it
but
was
I
pretty
think
good.
I think what you're and I haven't read the book yet, but it sounds to me like what you're hitting on is like be as happy as you can be with with your daily lemonade,
Mm-hmm.
and and be aware that kind of perfect moments happen all the time. You know,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
you know,
And imperfect, and I mean,
and
this book
be
is.
present to see them when they come. Right? And maybe I'm not. Maybe that's your
Well,
next.
no. That's not the. That's part of it. This is actually really almost like a Trojan horse of just personal responsibility.
Okay.
Like you're, as I drop it, you're in charge of your happiness. You're in charge of what you let take you down. You're in charge of who you let into your life that will affect you positively or negatively. And I think, what I really want people to understand is how much control they have and how empowered they really are with most of their life circumstances. I mean, obviously, we can't help the childhoods we had. Nobody can. Um, but what I hope I offer are tips and tools and actionable things to do to not only recover from certain things, but to move forward in as positive and effective a mode as possible. And I call it getting back to the basics, right? And each of those letters in the word basics, like it's an acronym for something. Like the B is be kind. There's a section on that, and be present. The A is ask. Ask for help. Ask for what you want and be specific. You don't go into a restaurant hungry and say, just bring me something. Unless you're like really, really bold and could care
Yeah,
less.
yeah.
Like,
The opposite is just go in the restaurant and say, when the guy waiter says, "What do you want?" And you go, "I'm okay. I'm okay." You're not okay. You're hungry,
right,
or you wouldn't
right.
be
You're
there.
hungry. That's
Right.
why you're there.
Right.
Ask for what you want and be specific. I think so many people are afraid to ask A for help because we think it's a sign of weakness when
Yeah.
my opinion is nothing further from the truth.
Right.
It's actually strength when you say, hey, look, this is what I need. This is what I whether it's emotional support, whether it's assistance and getting something else. I've been just, reaching out to friends, comics. I mean, we're talking right now because I was like, hey, can you help me plug my book? Because Amazon did some crazy stuff. And now we're having this great conversation and
Right.
people are going to see it. But if I had been afraid to ask, then what good does that do? I mean, what the worst you could have said was no. Is that going to kill me? Is
Right.
that going to change my life?
Worst would have been it would have been I saw your set on the Jamie Foxx show, and
Awesome. You're so funny. Oh my
come on,
god.
that would have been the worst.
Oh, I swear to God, that haunts me to this day. But I will tell you this: after bombing that badly
Right.
in front of thousands of people and 2 TV crews, I don't think I had a bad set for like 5 years after that. I swear to God, I don't think
Well,
I
now
had
you're
bombed.
bulletproof, right?
Yeah, right.
You're like, they can kill
I
me, but they
wish.
can't eat me. You know.
There you go. There you go.
No, you do great. I've seen you kill a million times, so
Oh, thank
don't get
you.
caught.
Thank you.
But as a
I
comedian,
love.
it's my job to make sure to, you know, torture you about that a little bit.
It's all good. I can handle it.
All right, so listen, Karith, tell everyone
Yes.
where they can get this awesome book.
Sure.
I'm gonna get a copy,
Okay. Well, so
and
you can go to my
and
website,
because
which
you're
is.
on the Big Comedy podcast, probably Audrey McHugh will get one because she's my mom, and she's
Ooh.
yeah, and she's a reader. She's a
I
reader.
love that. Well,
Yeah,
I think she'll like it. I use a couple naughty words. She won't mind that, will she?
no.
But it's pretty
Hopefully, it won't
clean.
give her any advice that she then wants to give me.
Yeah, well, I can't promise you that.
Okay, all right.
But no, it's just it's a fun kind of common sense guide. I like to think like if Grant Cardone and Oprah had a baby, it would be me.
Okay.
And it's just kind of like this tough love, but with like compassion. And let
Okay.
me let me take care of you.
Yeah.
But also kind of in your face, like hey, listen, you're in charge of this. This is your responsibility to go for your happiness. But understanding that it's not a constant, right? We're gonna have ups and downs. I like to think of happiness is like watching an EKG, right? The
Yeah.
up and the down of the heart monitor. It's life. You're going to have highs, you're going to have lows. You're going to come back from those lows up to those highs. When you're in the highs, you enjoy them. The only time you are in trouble is when you have that flat line, right?
Right.
So you can find this book. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Again, you can be perfect or you can be happy. You can find it on Amazon. You can either get it in the Kindle version or hard copy.
Okay.
Now, I think the hard copy is only going to be available after June 12th, but that's the day to order it because that goes toward my bestseller numbers. But you can pre-order the Kindle copy, or you can go to kariths.com. It's up there on my website as well. You just click on the book and the link, and there'll be some free gifts that I'm offering people too.
Okay.
So yeah, this was definitely a heart and soul project, and I'm very raw in it. I share a bit of myself, more personal stuff than I think I've ever shared anywhere.
Okay.
But it's because I think you have to be authentic if you really want to touch people's lives. And why I think this is so important for right now, not just because of, coronavirus and all the other stuff going on, but happy people don't hate. And if you can get to you're happy, then you can accept other people for who they are.
Okay. I'm sold. All right, everybody. Get Karith Foster's book. And also, she's a great speaker. She's a great comedian. So I think karithfoster.com. That's just at your...
Well, it's just kariths.com.
Just Karith.
Yep. Although I think if they put in Karith Foster, it'll
that.
bounce to karith.com, but just Karith, Karith.
Thank you. Karith, thanks so much for being on the big comedy podcast.
Thank you for having me.
Okay.